Let's get to some fun shit. Inside a Chinese ghost town of abandoned mansions.
The developers here designed this home in the style of a grand European mansion. But this is all it is right now. It's the shell of a half-completed, empty house. And this house is just one of more than 100 on this site here. And this particular compound is one of many just like it all across
Ugly as
China.
hell.
Abandoned, empty, a headache for China's policymakers.
Ugly as hell, dog. This is some America shit right here. Y'all need to stop being such Ameriboos, okay?
We're here in Shenyang City, 400 miles northeast of Beijing. It's in second-tier cities like Shenyang that China's real estate woes are perhaps the most visible. In some cases, you even have entire compounds of villas that have been built but will probably never get finished. One example is a state guest.
Isn't it supposed to be European style? No, the very basis of what they built there is an American suburb. So it doesn't matter. Even if the architecture itself is like supposed to look a little bit more European, a little bit more elevated, the entire principle behind building McMansions such as that one is like an ultimately American-ass thing to do.
Guest mansions built by Greenland Group.
Now, China has hella space, so you could do technically suburban sprawl, okay, if you wanted to, but it's just very stupid and very dumb. I mean, very dumb and very fucking unproductive. So why would you do that?
One of the more than 50 housing developers that have defaulted on their debts in recent years. What lies here now is the skeleton of a housing project that began construction in 2010, but came to a halt a few years later. Its gardens have been taken over by farmers herding goats into makeshift pens.
China has low per person land, you're wrong. Wait, really?
Abandoned homes are a testament to a property crisis long in the making. Yeah, this is it. Greenland Group says it invested $230 million in this site alone.
Yet Hasan hates yet loves Los Angeles, a third-tier city below New Brunswick. Los Angeles has many issues. I'm very open about them, but I do love the weather.
So here we are. This is a building called Grandeur Place, and feels like a big post-apocalyptic opera house in Paris or something. But as you can see, this is the showroom where they used to bring interested customers and show them what the grounds were going to look like, what their mansions were going to look like. But as you can
Not the weather right now.
see now, it's not what it used to be. You got a chandelier up above.
Yes, I'm a landlord.
There's some fire extinguishers that someone somehow got up there. There's a French flag lying in tatters on the floor. I think that's part of their French-style sales pitch. A decades-long real estate boom prompted developers to take on a lot of debt to build homes ahead of demand. Plans for this site included a golf course, a convention center, and a hotel.
Bro, I'm telling you, dude, this literally is just straight up American shit.
Greenland sold less than 5% of the homes here before construction stopped. I think we may be in this building here. Either way, this is the vision that Greenland Group, the developer of this project, originally had in mind. The developer hasn't given an official explanation for why it stopped work here, but it doesn't look like they're about to restart anytime soon. Greenland pre-sold units here before they were finished, something replicated all across China. There are an estimated 20 million units of pre-sold but incomplete homes across the country. The huge volume of undelivered apartments has left many Chinese households in limbo. Here we are on the 4th story of a single family unit that looks like it was mostly completed. You've got all sorts of different signs of life, but I don't think anyone's been here for quite a long time. Last July, Greenland defaulted on over $400 million.
Why do you bother watching these videos that are basically just China bad? I don't give a shit. It's still interesting.
Dollars worth of international bonds. Despite counting the Shanghai government as a major shareholder, Greenland hasn't been spared from the turmoil in China's property market. Beijing tried to deflate China's housing bubble by imposing strict debt and cash flow targets on developers. Property giants crumbled, setting off a chain of developer defaults. This is just another of the residential property developments in Shenyang that have frozen in their tracks. This one behind me, it was started by China Evergrande Group, the country's largest residential property developer, and one that was ordered to liquidate in January. China Evergrande's rapid expansion was really emblematic of how quickly and how important the real estate market became for China's broader economy. Evergrande has left 800,000 pre-sold homes across China unfinished, with little prospect of them being completed. Evergrande's collapse triggered protests by homeowners.
I wonder if they'll like cover the Chinese government's actions against Evergrande.
Furious that units they had started paying mortgages for weren't being finished. And all signs indicate things will only get worse. Sales of newly built homes fell 6% in 2023, returning to levels unseen since 2016, and sales are expected to fall further in 2024.
We have to reverse back to say, do they really care about international investors? Do they really care about the stock market? I mean, let's ask that dangerous question, because the thing is that coming from the West, particularly the US, where the stock market is so tied up with consumer confidence, it's so tied up with the concept of wealth effect, it is one of the many focuses, the prime focuses of the Federal Reserve.
You're absolutely correct. I swear to God, there is no position, regardless of your actual position, that Chad will not criticize you for Lamau. Yes. So as far as what happens here, it's like it's not necessarily what is the issue here is not what has happened, or the interesting part about it is not what has happened thus far. It's how China will deal with it that is important and interesting and unique, and could be a learning, could be a lesson to learn from. Okay.
And the whole of the sort of system, if you like, in China, companies don't need capital they're getting their capital from cash flows. They're getting their capital, from the sort of the private side. So the stock market doesn't provide the same sort of service in China that it does. Now, it will do. I think the key here is it will do.
The people. For political stability, you need the people to think that they can be aspirational and to be able to increase their net worth and then to consume. If you're trying to shift into a consumer-driven economy, you need there to be an acceleration of equity markets. You need property values to increase. It doesn't have to be exponential and up and to the right. But don't you need that to happen? And that international investment helps that along.
Well, I think this is the central dilemma: is that the West.
You need it, dude.
Basically, spent years assuming that China was just another emerging market, and it was going to do exactly the same, and it was going to drive everything with lots of borrowing and lots of leverage, and the sort of the Wall Street and the, if you like, the Washington consensus. What Xi told us 2 years ago was that's not what they're going to do. They're not going to privatize and create a whole lot of monopolies, which will allow massive rent extraction and very attractive profitability for corporates that we can all invest in. They don't see that as the role of the stock market or the state. The state is there to provide, as it said, common prosperity, and we have to.
Yeah, Tinker, China's still in a bear market. More like Tinker, China shill.
Except that there are private companies that will make private profits that we can invest in, and we need to focus on those, and that the consumer should not be going out and leveraging themselves up 10 times over in order to drive some sort of headline GDP growth. That's not what they're focusing on. I think we need to look at the thing about China. They tell us what they're going to do. They told us 2 years ago that they were going to deflate the bubble in the housing market, not in the market, but in the developers. But we kept on buying the stocks in the developers. We kept on buying their overseas debt, and then we turned around and said, how's China done this to us? It needs to support this sector. And we know it works in the West. The politicians say, OK, yeah, we'll put lots of public money in to bail out the follies of the private investor. But in China, they basically said, well, we told you this was going to go. You're down 95%, sorry, but it's not that we're doing it deliberately against you, but we were just, we told you what our priorities are. So I think there is value in China, but I think we have to understand that they're not following our script.
Yeah, this guy. When I say this, I'm called a China shill and a piece of shit, which I assume like they'll call him that too. It's fucking tanky, China shill. Yeah, typical fucking tanky. That's Wall Street tanky. I mean, Cenk Uygur is a tanky. If he is, then who isn't? You know what I mean? Yeah, CNBC doing red fash propaganda.
And I think that's where we've been missing, I think. And their growth is coming from other places. And they're going to grow their financial sector as a pension and a saving system, not a speculation and effectively selling it off to overseas investors like other emerging markets have been forced to do system.
Anyway, interesting to see.
In 2025, Evergrande and Greenland Group did not respond to requests for comment on the status of the unfinished homes. For many people in China, buying property was long seen as one of the most reliable ways to invest your money. But seeing properties like this spread all over the country has made people think twice. Now, many look upon real estate as one of the least reliable investments, and that poses an enormous challenge to China's government.
It's crazy because the most pro-China people are still barely neutral and still lean towards anti-China. If I understand correctly, he's saying that the CPC Chinese state is allowing the construction firm to fail because they want to prioritize access to housing. No, I think that there is mismanagement there for sure. Overall, like the people definitely did invest a ton into this sort of thing and park their assets into housing. But I think the point he's trying to make is that he was talking about foreign investment. As far as foreign investment goes, like if your expectation is that the Chinese housing market is going to operate in the same way that the housing market operates in the West, you're wrong. The Chinese government has openly explained that like they're no longer interested in utilizing the housing market as an investment vehicle, but instead they're more focused on ensuring people do get housing, and that they don't care if it's not a reliable vehicle for investment. It's just not for speculation. So overall, I think that beyond that, the truth is somewhere in the middle. What that guy is saying is correct, but this is also correct. I think that this has this left alone, okay, in the Western world would cause a massive collapse. Okay, a massive collapse that makes 2008 look like it's nothing. Okay, a shit ton of people have dumped in the stock market. A shit ton of people have dumped all their assets, losing their retirement funds, losing their fucking money, and playing, I guess, like some level of speculative. Well, not even speculative, because like it was seen as a reliable investment vehicle for a very long time as this massive expansion was occurring. The difference, however, is, and I always have like a let's wait and see position on stuff like this, because overall, as far as Evergrande, for example, the way that the Chinese government has dealt with Evergrande and its corruption and the very interesting initiatives that they were taking at the time has been to basically punish top down rather than allow the company to try to find like engage in asset stripping, specifically starting off with the like C-suite